Being home alone as a child is supposed to feel exciting, no parents, no rules, just freedom. But sometimes that silence hides something far more terrifying. Doors that shouldn't open, footsteps that aren't yours, and shadows that move when no one should be there. Tonight, you'll hear 4 scary true childhood home alone stories that prove some memories never leave, no matter how old or get. When you're a child, being home alone feels like freedom. No parents watching. No rules. Just silence and imagination. But for some kids, that silence turns into something else entirely. Something that makes or realize or are never truly alone. The first story comes from a man named Ryan, who says this happened when he was just 9 years old. Ryan lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood, thinking here everyone knew each other and nothing bad was ever supposed to happen. On a summer afternoon, his parents left him home alone for the first time. They were only going to the grocery store and promised they'd be back within an hour. Ryan was excited. He turned on the TV, grabbed snacks, and sat on the living room floor, enjoying the feeling of independence. About 20 minutes passed when he heard a noise. At first, it was fine. A soft thump coming from upstairs. Ryan muted the TV and listened. The house settled around him, odd cracking softly, the normal sounds of an old house. He told himself that's all it was. Then he heard it again. This time it sounded like footsteps. Slow. Careful. Moving across the floor above him. Ryan's stomach tightened. He knew he was alone. His parents had left. No one else had a key. He called out, "Mom?" No answer. The footsteps stopped. Ryan sat frozen, heart pounding, staring at the stairs leading upstairs. Minutes passed in complete silence. Eventually, he convinced himself it was just his imagination and turned the TV back on that when he heard a door open. Not upstairs. Downstairs. The sound came from the hallway leading to his parents' bedroom. Ryan felt cold all over. That door was closed when his parents left. He knew because he had tried to sneak into their room earlier and it was locked. No, it was slowly cracking open. Ryan slid off the couch and crouched behind it, barely breathing. He listened as soft footsteps moved through the hallway, stopping just outside the living room. Then something terrifying happened. A shadow stretched across the carpet. Someone was standing just outside his view. Ryan squeezed his eyes shut, convinced that if he stayed quiet, whatever it was all go on. After had felt like forever, the footsteps moved again, this time toward the kitchen. He heard cabinets opening, the faint clink of dishes, like someone calmly searching for something. Ryan didn't move until he heard the front door open and close. Silence returned. When his parents finally came home, Ryan ran to them crying, trying to explain. His father checked the entire house. Nothing was missing. No doors or windows were forced open. They told him it was just nervous. But years later, Ryan learned something that still makes his blood run cold. A neighbor had been arrested weeks later for breaking into homes during the day, waiting inside until the homeowners returned. Ryan believes to this day that the man was in the house with him listening, watching and choosing the perfect moment to leave. The second story comes from a woman named Laura. Laura was 7 years old when her mother started leaving her home alone for short periods. On the afternoon, Laura was coloring at the dining table when the phone rang. She answered it there as breathing on the other end. Slow. Heavy. Too close. Hello? Laura asked. The breathing stopped. The line ended. She shrugged it off, thinking it was a prank call. 10 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time, a hispertsame frog. Who are you alone? Laura dropped the phone. She ran to the front door and checked the lock. It was locked. The windows were shut. She grabbed a blanket and hid in her closet, holding her knees to her chest. That's when she heard the door knob. It rattled once. Twice. Then stopped. When her mom came home, nothing seemed wrong. But the phone company later confirmed Simeone had been calling from inside the house. The third story is from a man named Daniel, and its owner still struggles to talk about. Daniel is 10 years old, home alone on a rainy evening. His parents were at a school meeting and told him not to open the door for anyone. He was playing video games when he heard a knock. 3 slow knocks. He ignored it. The knocks came again, harder this time. Daniel, a voice called out. It's me. Daniel froze. The voice sounded exactly like his father. But his father wasn't home. Daniel shouted back, Dad? Silence. Then the voice changed. Lower. Angrier. Open the door. Daniel ran to his room and locked the door behind him. He heard footsteps moving around the house, doors opening, drawers being searched. Then came the scratching at his bedroom door. Slow. Deliberate. Like fingernails dragging across wood. The scratching stopped only when his parents pulled into the driveway. They found no signs of forced entry. But the scratches are still there. The fourth story comes from a woman named Emily. Emily is 8 years old, home alone on a summer afternoon. She was watching cartoons when she heard laughter coming from her bedroom. A child's laughter. She looked down the hallway, heart pounding. Her bedroom door was open. Inside, her toys are scattered across the floor. And her doll, her favorite one, was sitting upright on the bed. Its head turned toward her. Emily ran outside screaming. Her parents never believed her. But the doll was later found in the attic. The final story ties everything together. It comes from a former police dispatcher who says the most terrifying calls he ever received are from children home alone. One call still haunts him. A little boy whispered into the phone, Simeone is inside. The dispatcher told him to hide. The boy whispered back, he's telling me not to be scared. Police arrived to find the front door unlocked. The boy was safe. They never found the man. To this day, that dispatcher says the scariest thing about being home alone as a child isn't the darkness. It is the feeling that Simeone knows you're alone. And they're eating. If you're still here, it means you made it through these terrifying childhood home alone stories. But ask yourself this, how many of those moments are just fair and how many are something real? When you're a child, silence feels louder, shadows feel closer, and danger feels unseen. And sometimes, those memories stay with us long after I grow up. If these stories send chills down your spine, make sure to hit the like button. It lets me know you're ready for more real life horror that hides in everyday moments. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications because every egg uncover true stories that prove the scariest things don't come from movies, they come from real life. I want to hear from you too. Are you ever home alone as a child and felt like something wasn't right? Did you hear footsteps, voices, or notice something move when no one else was there? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be featured in an upcoming video. Until next time, lock your doors, trust your instincts, and remember you are never as alone as you thought.